Hey everyone, and welcome back to the FAQ Shack. This is the show where we dive deep and answer your biggest questions about the lore you love. And today, oh boy, we are unpacking one of the most brutal and honestly one of the most fascinating factions in all of Fallout, Caesar's Legion.
We're diving right in with a question that we get asked all the time, and this one comes to us from a user named Mojave Wanderer 81.
And they ask, what's the deal with the Legion? Why the hell would anyone join them? You know, that is the perfect question, because when you first meet these guys, they just seem like a bunch of savage cosplayers. But the reality of why they exist and why anyone would follow them, well, it's way more complicated and way darker than you might think. And hey, if you've got a burning lore question of your own, make sure to drop it in the comments below.
To really get the Legion, you can't start with the army. You have to start with the man who created it. The guy who wasn't born a warrior king, but was once a scholar named Edward Sallow.
I mean, just look at this timeline. His transformation is insane. In 2246, he's basically a grad student for the followers of the apocalypse, studying tribal languages out in Arizona. Then, just 1 year later, boom, he gets captured by the Blackfoot tribe. But here's the twist. Instead of becoming a victim, he uses his book smarts, his knowledge of history, to teach them how to really fight. And by the 2250s, Edward Sallow, the scholar, is gone. In his place stands Caesar, a man ready to conquer the wasteland.
So you might be wondering, how does a linguist just suddenly become a military genius? Well, he wasn't just reading any old books. Sallow was completely obsessed with ancient Rome. We're talking about devouring texts like Julius Caesar's The Gallic Wars and the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. He saw the nuclear apocalypse not as an end, but as a repeat of history, and he believed these old books held the blueprint for building a new, better world on the ashes of the old one.
So, now he's Caesar, and his ambition is huge. He isn't just content to lead one tribe. No, he's going to build a whole new society, a massive army, all driven by one single, absolutely ruthless idea.
And that idea is called total war. See, before him, the local tribes were, as he put it, playing at war. Little raids for supplies or honor. Caesar taught them something different. He taught them that the point of war wasn't just to win a battle. It was to utterly destroy your enemy's identity. You conquer them, you burn their books, you forbid their language, and you absorb what's left of their people into your own ranks. You erase them from history.
And was it effective? Oh yeah. By 2271, the Legion had swallowed 86 different tribes. Their old names, their traditions, all of it gone. Now, they were all just the Legion.
And this quote from Caesar himself really cuts to the chase. My legion obeys me even unto death. Why? Because they live to serve the greater good, and they know of no alternatives. That last part is the key. It's not just about discipline. It's about total, absolute brainwashing from birth. They don't just choose to be loyal. They literally can't imagine a world where they aren't.
And this creates a society that is, well, it's horrifyingly efficient. Everyone and everything is the property of Caesar. If you're an able-bodied man, you are a soldier, period. Women, your job is to support the Legion and, most critically, to produce more sons to become soldiers. It's a completely utilitarian machine where every single person is just a cog.
But here's the thing. This massive war machine wasn't just being built for the sake of conquest. Caesar was building it for a very specific purpose. He needed a true opponent, a philosophical rival. And he found the perfect one right next door, the new California Republic.
Okay, so stick with me, because this gets a little heady, but it's the key to his whole plan. Caesar believed in this philosophical idea called dialectics. He saw his legion as the thesis, this strong, autocratic, brutal force. He saw the NCR as the complete opposite, the antithesis, democratic, individualistic, a bit soft. His grand idea was to smash these two forces together in a massive war. He believed that from that conflict, a new, perfect society, the synthesis, would be born.
So, all this philosophy is one thing, but it brings up a really practical question. What is it actually like to live under these guys? Which, funny enough, brings us to another great question from our community. This listener asks, the sources say Legion territory is safe, but aren't they just brutal slavers? This is a fantastic point, because you hear it from traders in New Vegas all the time. Legion lands are the safest in the wasteland. So how can both of those things be true at once?
Well, the terrifying answer is they are both true.
The Legion's lands are incredibly safe precisely because they are so brutal. Any raider or thief gets crucified on the spot, so caravan routes are wide open. Taxes are low. But the trade-off is everything. You have no freedom, no rights, no voice. You are safe, yes, but it's a safety that is bought and paid for with absolute terror and total submission.
And all of this whole grand, brutal experiment leads us to Caesar's endgame and to the massive, fatal flaw hiding right at the center of his supposedly brilliant plan. So let's just quickly recap his master plan. Step 1, the thesis. He builds the Legion, this perfect, unthinking army. Step 2, the antithesis. He finds the NCR, a civilization with infrastructure and history. Step 3, the synthesis. He smashes them together at the Hoover Dam, conquers the NCR, and uses their resources to forge a new Roman Empire that has the Legion's strength and the NCR's civilization.
But here is the great irony, the giant hole in the plan. To conquer the NCR, he needed an army of fanatics who would follow any order without question. But the empire he actually wanted to build, this new Rome, would need thinkers, doctors, engineers, artists, people who could innovate and govern. He built the perfect weapon to conquer the world, but that weapon was fundamentally incapable of running.
Think of it this way. Caesar is the only architect in this entire project. Everyone else, from his top commander down to the newest slave, is just a worker, following his exact blueprints. The moment that architect dies, the whole project comes to a crashing halt. There's no one left who knows how to read the plans. It just collapses back into a directionless, violent mob. So, to circle all the way back to Mojave Wanderer 81's question, why would anyone join them? The truth is, most were forced. They were conquered. But the reason the Legion works is because it offers something the wasteland craves: order, purpose, safety, all bought at the highest possible price. Which leaves us with one final chilling thought. Caesar thought he was creating a new future for mankind, but in the end, was he just doomed to perfectly recreate the worst tyrannies of the past? Let me know what you think.